afternoon and welcome to this special Jerusalem Press Club briefing. I'm Esti Yaari, Press Director of the JPC. We are joined today by Major General Yaakov Amidror, former National Security Advisor, former head of the Research Department of the IDF's Military Intelligence Directorate, and head of Israel's National Defense College. General Amidror is currently a senior fellow at the Jewish Institute for National Security of America, JINSA. Thank you, General Amidror, for joining us today.
Hi.
So I just want to kind of position us a little bit. As of this morning, we've had approximately 400 ballistic missiles and hundreds of UAVs have been launched at civilians in Israel, with approximately 40 impact sites identified. 24 people have been killed and more than 800 injured, including 8 in serious condition. Almost 4,000 people have been evacuated from their homes, and close to 20,000 damage claims have been submitted to the Israel Tax Authority. At the same time, the IDF's operations have been remarkable, and the IDF reports that it is now air superiority in Iran and continues to target military, nuclear, and regime targets. The IAEA confirmed today that 2 centrifugal sites in Iran have been hit and damaged. So, General, I'd like to ask you for your assessment on how things are going and if it's as you expected.
Thank you very much for having me. About it's a few issues that I want to emphasize. One is the damage in the inside Israel. We understood during the years that these heavy long-range ballistic missiles will bring a lot of damage whenever they will explode. There is no any surprise in that. The big majority of the people which had been killed didn't fulfill the rules, and if they had, they wouldn't been died, probably. The vast majority. I don't want to put numbers, but it is 80%, 70%. Because there is no surprise in the damage of the missiles, and we prepared the safe places for that damage. So in that area, there is no surprise. About the question that you asked, if I am surprised from the result of the war up till now, the answer is yes and no. I'm not surprised from the result. I knew that would be the results. I kind of good understanding of what our capacities are and how it will work and so on and so forth. I was surprised by the very short time that was achieved. I thought that look, there are 2 goals for the war, but there are prerequisites to achieve it. And the most important prerequisite for achieving it is to destroy the anti-air system of Iran. All the facilities, the capabilities, the missiles, the radar systems, so on and so forth, which had been built by the Iranians to defend the skies of Iran. They lost it almost completely. I was surprised how short was the time to achieve it. That is my main surprise. After having it, I knew that we have very good targeting system, that we have good intelligence about the facilities inside Iran. I knew that the Air Force, from the minute that will be achieved, will have to do the job, and they are excellent in fulfilling the job. There was more than, for me at least, I was surprised by the fact that immediately at the beginning we succeeded to eliminate so many scientists, and that was very important because otherwise we would miss the opportunity. And for the future ability of the Iranians to produce nuclear bomb, that is crucial. So that surprised me, the number of success eliminations of these people. Other than that, I was not surprised. Of course, whenever you send the Mossad agents into a foreign state, you don't know what the achievement will be, and it works very well. But I was not surprised by it. I understood that it works well.
Okay, so I'd like to then jump into some of what we're seeing, both in terms of the campaign and also some of the reaction. So just the other day, the German chancellor thanked Israel for doing the West's so-called quote dirty work. President Trump said that we quote we have air superiority, and so I'm wondering the support that we're seeing here from the United States is not surprising. From Europe, I don't know whether surprising or not. Perhaps you could say that. Tell us whether it is or not, and how long you think this support will last. Standing behind this.
I think that now more leaders understand that the regime in Tehran is responsible for so many evil in the Middle East, so much evil in the Middle East, that if we look at it, this regime stood and promote Hamas and Islamic Jihad and Hezbollah and militias in Iraq and the Houthis in Yemen and all around the Middle East, you can see the fingers of the Iranians. In every point in which there is friction between two sides and readiness to kill each other, you find the Iranians. And I think that leaders understand that the way that Israel is treating Iran, leading to a new situation in which the world can stop Iran from being the source of so many murderers and so on in the Middle East. Think about Syria. The fact that the Iranians stood behind and helped Assad gave him the ability to murder so many Arabs, leave alone the problems with Israel. Arabs that are not supporters of Iran. And when the new regime emerged in Damascus, it is clear that from their point of view, Iran is an enemy. Even if they didn't meet Iranians in the battlefield, and they met some of them, even if they didn't meet many Iranians in the battlefield, they clear for them that Iran is the force which built Hezbollah, which butchered them during the years, that Iran was behind the regime in Damascus, which was so cruel one. So all that is leading to a situation in which more leaders understand that the elimination of this regime attitude towards Israel and this regime support for terrorist organization, and this regime help to militias all over the Middle East. If that will be stopped, the Middle East will be much better. Leave alone if we will fulfill all the problems that we have with the Palestinians and others. But the whole Middle East will be much better. In the language of King Abdullah of Jordan, he said, the Iranians succeed to build a shared crescent going from Tehran to the Mediterranean and Beirut. The crescent doesn't exist anymore. So it's a huge relief for the Arab states, which are afraid from the Shiite crescent. Of course, it's very important for us and very encouraging from our point of view. But at the end of the day, it's not us. It is really the whole Middle East. And everyone who is reading the language of the ideology of the mullahs in Iran, everyone understands. It's not just the Middle East. At the end of the day, it's the beginning of the wave. They had in mind, in their crazy mind, that they will take control of, they destroy Israel, they take the control of the Middle East, and then they will move ahead. There are other places that they want. I mean, this is why I think that the leader of Germany said the Israelis are making the dirty job of the free world, and President Trump understands it, and other leaders, and I think that we should keep it in that path, and for that we have to be very careful not to exaggerate in what we are doing in Iran.
Okay, so that brings me to a number of questions that have come in exactly on these points that you have raised. I'll ask in no particular order some of these issues. One, let's start with the one that you just ended with, which is when you talk about the goals of what's being trying to be accomplished right now. There's been some discussion about regime change in Iran, either as a byproduct of Israeli actions or on purpose. And then at the same time, the question of whether, even if the Ayatollah were eliminated, whether that would in fact cause regime change, or if this is, two separate things. And if this is a good, so the question that is being asked is, do you think this is the goal or a good, or even a good idea?
No, it's not a goal. It might happen, but it's not a goal. The goal is very clear, was defined. It's distracting the ability of the Iranians to produce nuclear bomb and to destroy the infrastructure which allows them to produce the ballistic missiles that they are launching into Israel. And the Prime Minister added afterwards something which is connected not to the aim of the war, but if an agreement will be agreed, the seizing all the help of the Iranians to organizations, proxies, and so on and so forth. For regime change, you need two different elements. One, you need a weaker regime. The strong regime cannot be topped. And the other one is an opposition which will enter to the vacuum or use the opportunity, whatever is the situation. We can make the regime weaker, and probably by killing all these commanders which spent so many years around the Khamenei is much weaker today than he was a week ago. But we cannot produce the opposition. This is something that the Iranian people will have to decide if they want or not, and if they decide to produce it. We cannot take their position. There is one occasion in which you don't have to have organized opposition if there is huge amount of people who are ready to sacrifice themselves and are running to the palace of the king. I don't know, it's the equivalent in Iran in this case. If that happens, no one can stop it, but killing thousands of people. The Egyptians didn't succeed. But in Syria they succeeded when it happened. They didn't succeed in Libya. They didn't succeed in Tunisia. They didn't succeed in Egypt to stop it. But in Syria they succeeded, and in Iran in the past they succeeded. So that is the only occasion in which you don't need organized opposition. Other than that, in all the other situations, you need someone to lead the opposition, to unite it. And there is no such a leader, there is no such leadership, and there is no such opposition. So everyone who speaks about regime change, I think it's very good to have it. If it will be a normal regime and not this crazy Ayatollahs, it's better for Iran, it's better for the Iranians, it's better for the Middle East, it's better for Israel. But it is something that cannot be guaranteed because there is no organized opposition inside Iran, with one reservation, as far as we know.
Okay, so just on that, as you were speaking, one of the reporters wrote to me about what Shia's son, Reza, who has been actually come out yesterday, and he's called on the Iranian people to rise up to take the opportunity to do something.
I'm not sure that he is the leader that the Iranians are waiting for. I don't know.
Okay. I want to move on to another issue, which is regarding the American involvement. A couple of questions have come in regarding this issue. One is, how important is direct U.S. military involvement for Israel to achieve its war aims? I guess particularly people are asking in general about that, and specifically, people have been talking a lot about Fordo. And I guess how important is it that Fordo is taken out, and can Israel do it alone? So these two questions have come in together, and then we'll ask some more as well.
Okay, first of all, we have to admit and to thank. We have to admit that without American help, Israel could not have the capabilities that we have. With all due respect to our industry, Israel does not produce F-35 and not F-6 and F-15. And the last time that I checked, all the airplanes which flew from Israel to Iran were America made. So this is the basis. Without the relations with the United States of America, I'm not sure that Israel could have these capabilities. And we had to look for other solutions. We have today in Israel 2 batteries of the THAAD system integrated into our defensive system with the Arrow 3 and 2 and 3. And that is huge help for Israel to deal with the coming missiles. About Americans taking part in the attack on Iran. Basically, we don't need an American intervention in this. We can do the job by ourselves. There is one very defined place or installation called Fordo. We don't have the ability to take the bombs that can destroy it. The Americans have better capabilities. It's not about the war in Iran. It's not about targeting in Iran. It's about very specific place that Israel cleaned all the area around it. You don't have to fight against the anti-air systems. There is none which is active there probably, and if there is one, we will eliminate it till the Americans decide what to do. This is the only place, the only facility, the only installation that the Americans have much better capabilities than us. Again, if the Americans will say, sorry guys, we are ready to provide you everything, but we don't want to intervene, it's their business, their decision. It's a sovereign state. Don't tell any Israeli that America is a sovereign state, but it is. And the Americans will make smart decisions. I don't have any hesitation to say it. They have their own system, a little bit slow, but at the end of the day, they reach the right decision for America. If that will be the case, the IDF, the Air Force will find a solution because we have full control of the skies of Iran. It is another situation in which the Air Force might find something. What exactly? I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to move on to something that you touched on, which is the air defenses, THAAD, and of course Israel's homegrown air defenses as well. There was a report in the Wall Street Journal today that an American official said that we're running low on defensive arrow interceptors. There's in general been a question of, how long can Israel maintain this level of intercepting and air defense? I wonder if we can comment on that. And also we've seen in the past couple of nights that in fact the barrages from Iran have included fewer missiles than in the previous nights. Is that because they're going low on their own attack missiles, or because of a strategy shift?
Okay, one by one. About the Israeli side. First of all, I don't know what is the number of interceptors that we have now, and if it's enough or not enough. I'll say something about it in the second answer. Remember that all the time there are many rumors in the Israeli media and in the American media which try to convince Israel that the situation is much, much worse than it is in reality. It's not the first time that we are getting information from sources in Israel, in America, that are telling everyone how bad is the situation. And it didn't work in the past, it didn't stop us, and it will not work in the future, it will not stop us. Now, philosophical remark. Look, at the end of the day, Israel went to the operation to abolish a threat to its existence. Let's assume that Israel has a shortage in some interceptors, and the price regarding damage inside Israel to civilian buildings and military installations will be bigger than it is today. Today, it's very minimal. But let's assume that it will be bigger. Guys, at the end of the day, no free lunch. If Israel decides to destroy the nuclear capacity of Iran. There is a price, and part of it will be more missiles into Israel. If that is the case, I'm not sure, because now I'm moving to the second question. If you know, today the regulation was eased by the Home Front Command, and people can go to work if there is a safe place and so on. And I was asked why it happened today. What's happened? And my answer is that we probably have solid information which allows us to say that the threat is not as it was a week ago. And because of the fantastic work of the Air Force, the ability of the Iranians to launch many salvos of missiles into Israel with big numbers in each salvo was reduced. How much reduced, how much still they have in their potential, I don't know, and I don't think that anyone can make the calculation. We have to have a long BDA to understand how much we succeeded to destroy their capabilities, but no question that we did a fantastic job in eliminating or reducing their ability to launch missiles into Israel. How far they can, what is the potential? Good question that I don't have answer for, but for sure the potential is much less than it had been in the first and the second day of the war. How I know? The home front decision to ease the restrictions. It's the best proof that Israel made huge success. Israel has huge success in destroying or minimizing the ability of the Iranians to launch missiles into Israel. And still they have a very big potential, and it probably will be used in the future.
Okay, so that the person who asked about the change in the home front command, I think you just responded to that as well. So I want to move on to going back to Fordo. Another question has come back regarding if support for U.S. From the U.S. military bunker busters is not available to attack the nuclear facility there. Do you think that there's a possibility of deploying Israeli special forces on the ground? And another question on the same issue has come in saying, do you think that the air defenses have been so diminished over there that it can be bombed without using the stealth B-2s and just by using the regular B-52s?
If the Americans decide to do it, I'm not in a position to give them an advice what is the better way to do it. They have much more experience than me. They have knowledge that I don't have, and they are the owners of both the aeroplane and the bomb, and they will do whatever is needed. I really don't feel to be expert enough to answer this question. What was the first question?
If you think that barring a bombing campaign and
yes,
forces would...
I think that at the end of the day, the Air Force will find a way how to deal with the Israeli Air Force. Will find a way how to deal with the installation there with Fordo. We never thought that we will control the skies when we will have to destroy it. So all the plans that we had were much more limited than what can be done today, and that might change the equation.
And following up on that, another question has come in about how outlandish is the possibility that Israel would overtake runways in Western Iran in order to save on fuel and make their lives easier?
A very fantastic idea. I transfer it to the Air Force.
Okay. All right. So I want to move on to just to zoom out a little bit more to talk less about the specifics of the military here and more about what's going on in terms of the world support. We talked about Europe. We talked a little bit about the United States. Mm-hmm. But what about the Russian relationship with Iran? And in fact also the Chinese, but also the Russian particularly, which has always been so connected there, and we're seeing not a lot of support right now, unless I'm missing something.
Many people ask about military support of Iran by Russia and China. As far as I know, there was not one. The Chinese and the Russians were very cautious not to transfer any military capabilities to the Iranians during the war between Israel and Iran. And I will be very much surprised if they will do it in the future, because if they do, they know that we will destroy it the minute it will be landed in Iran, the minute it will be out of the Chinese or Russian plan. It is not Chinese or Russian material, so it will be bombed immediately by us, and they know it. And I think that they will not take the risk. Both of them, Putin and Shia, are not stupid guys, not happy trigger guys, and so I don't see it happening. The truth, I don't see them both. I mean, they can support intelligence, money, I don't know what, but I don't see them moving weapon system that might be a game changer during the war. And they will not take the risk.
I actually was just informed that the Russians are kind of trying to convince the Americans to stay out. So perhaps they're taking that route instead of a more direct helping with Iran. But the same question is now being asked, or an extension of that question, with having to do with Iran's the end game of the various players here. Of what is Israel's end game, what is President Trump's end game, and what would Iran now try and do? Would they potentially try to seek a new deal to buy time and regroup while this is happening to save the regime? Is that something that you think is potentially possible? Alternatively, perhaps they'll pull out completely from the NPT and just, try and go their own way. What do you think that they're going to try and do here, the various different players?
Israel was very clear. Our goals is very known. We published it. It's about the nuclear capacity and about the production of the missiles. And to achieve that, we had two other missions. One to destroy the anti-air grid of the Iranians, and to reduce the ability to launch missiles into Israel. That was just to give us the ability to achieve the two other goals that for which we decided to go to the war. And I think that from our point of view, we have enough on the plate. We don't have to add missions. And no one in Israel cries if the regime will be changed. No one. But this is not our goal. And we are making we are targeting some targets that, by the way, will help to weaken the regime, because our interest is to eliminate the command and control system of the Iranians, so they will have. It will not be so easy to make decisions and to launch the missiles. It is part of our efforts to reduce their ability to launch missiles into Israel. The purpose is not the regime change. It might lead to that. That is a possibility that should be taken into account. But from our point of view, it's not the main. It's not the reason for which we went to the war. If opportunity will emerge during the war, we can change our mind and say, guys, because what happened, and if we do A, B, and C, it will be a regime change. We will do it. But because regime change is our interest, but it's not our goal in this war. It's happened. We will happy to happen, but no more than that. Look, about the international community, other than the Western world, there is no relations of love, not between China and Iran, and not between Russia and Iran. They use each other. Iranians use their relations with Russia or with China, and vice versa. And there are no friends there. And at the end, that will be the essence of their relations afterwards, towards Iran, towards Israel. Everyone will make between China and Russia and all those countries, everyone will make his own decision based on the question, what can I earn? There is no love affairs in this world between those elements.
So we'll wrap it up in a few minutes. I know that your time is short and everyone's time is crazy these days. But the question that is being asked, that I'm being asked right now, one second, it just came in and I lost it here. Which is this, going back to the regime change and the opposition that you had mentioned, could all of this, the Israeli activity in Iran have the opposite effect of a rallying around the flag and kind of pushing the opposition to the side?
The answer is, I don't pretend that I know how the Iranian people will behave. I mean, it's even the Iranians don't know. So ask me, it's a kind of hubris to think that I know how it will work. From all the reactions that we are getting, including me privately, from a friend who is speaking the language and is very much involved in the social media in Iran. From all the reactions that we are getting, the people in Iran are, many people in Iran, I don't say the people of Iran, but many people in Iran are more than welcome a regime change. The problem is that they don't have leadership, agreed leadership, and they don't have a leader that they can symbolize the act. But basically, I don't know what is the percentage, but many within the people of Iran are supporters of the operation, not because they're Hamas, because they hate the mullah regime. And it might bring to a big change. Look, no one knows how smart people like the Iranians, 80 million people, 10 times more than Israel, how 18 million people react to the fact that the government didn't deliver, totally didn't deliver. Didn't deliver from the point of view of Hamas and Islamic Jihad in Gaza, from the point of view of the Hezbollah in Lebanon, from the point of view of Assad in Moscow. They didn't deliver. And now they don't deliver inside Iran. Look, the life in Tehran is miserable. It was miserable before, now it's unbelievable bad. And people have to move and so on and so forth. I think that they will lose kind of affiliation, sympathy with the regime. What are the consequences? I don't know.
Okay, I'm just gonna ask one or two last questions before we wrap, and one of them is a little bit, again, zoomed out, having to do with, the former ring of fire that Iran had tried to build here and had in fact built here over decades, with Hezbollah taken out and then no longer a threat. The Syrian situation is completely different. I don't even know how much that's impacting right now our ability to act over there. How much is Iran still a threat? And also, how does this impact, if at all, what's going on right now in Gaza? We have to remember, of course, there's 53 hostages still there. Is there any impact on that can get the ball rolling there?
Good questions with bad answers. Why? We don't have any way to measure such consequences. We don't know. I have a friend who said, remember all the time that the Ottoman Empire was corrupted for 300 years, and they survived 300 years. So you don't know what will be the influence of such situations. I think that the influence on Gaza will be very minimal. Hamas in Gaza is now fighting for the survival of its people. It's not even the movement. The movement is not functioning anymore. Its people are fighting to survive and to save their own life and the family and their family's life. And for them, the only car that they have, which can guarantee in a way their survival, are the hostages. And for them to give up in this issue means to commit suicide. And this is why it's so hard to achieve. Only if they see an alternative that if they don't, they will be eliminated, and if they will kind of way to escape. It might lead to an agreement, and for that we have to continue the pressure on inside Gaza, and we try to do it with less forces. But how the whole Iranian failure will make the influence in the Middle East, it's very hard to know. I think that it will be much, much better, because the fact that Iran is not financing, helping, training, providing weapon systems to extreme organization by itself will make the Middle East much, much better. And about the Ring of Fire, first of all, I like the idea that people are using it, because that was innovated. The name was innovated by me in 2019, I think. As far as I remember, I didn't borrow it, but I wrote it in one of my papers, and then it was all around. If I borrow it, it was a good decision to borrow it, because it described the issue. No, I can say, and I think that in the committee which was nominated by the Prime Minister, Finance Minister, and Minister of Defense to deal with the Israeli defensive budget in the future, we wrote it. And I'm very proud that we wrote it, that Israel should not be alarmed by the situation of today. If everything go well in the future, and it was before we attacked Iran, and the consequences in Iran now, at least, as can be judged, are fitting to what we said in the paper, that Israel should take into consideration that the threat to Israel from its neighbors will be reduced dramatically based on the results of the war. We have to keep it, we have to monitor it, we have to think about other places which might emerge as a threat in the Middle East and outside the Middle East. But from what can be said about the borders around Israel, either it is in the south, on the north, or in the Golan Heights, it probably will be less dangerous than before. I'm not sure that this is the story about Jordan and the West Bank. Here we have to be more cautious, because the Iranians succeeded to build very strong cells of terrorism inside the West Bank. It didn't work for Hamas in the 7th of October, and we have to continue our pressure inside the West Bank to eliminate it. But other than that, I think all the threats against Israel will be reduced, not in Yemen. Yemen is another story, but this is not big enough to change the whole atmosphere. But the combination of the elimination of Hamas as a threat to Israel from the Gaza Strip, the reducing the ability of Hezbollah to act, and eliminating some of its capabilities without the land bridge from Tehran to the Mediterranean, what the King Abdullah of Jordan called the Shia crescent, which does not there in reality. It doesn't exist anymore. It's vanished. And now taking out the majority part of the Iranian ability to attack Israel altogether, put Israel within a year in a much better situation. This is kind of a situation in which if you have money and you look for opportunity, you say, this is the time to invest, because the direction is clear, in spite of the fact that now it's very hard. So this is all I believe, that Israel will flourish afterwards. We have to finish all the internal problems, because that will not be solved in the war. But if that will be solved one way or another, Israel will be in a much better position with less threats and better military capacity, and even control in some areas.
Okay, we're going to end it there on a somewhat optimistic note. I want to thank you very much, General Amidror, for joining
You're
us.
most welcome. Thank you for having me.
And I look forward to speaking with you again, hearing some more insights.
You're most welcome.
Thank you very much. And I would also like to thank my colleagues, Ali Naor and Mati Sakal, for facilitating this briefing. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. And of course, all of our journalist friends, keep safe. And if there's anything that we can do to help you with your coverage, please feel free to reach out. Have a good evening.